Hi, it's Gary, and I just want to introduce you to what is the first in a series of videos that will be documenting and covering what is essentially a reboot of my personal health and fitness journey, effectively a repeat of something that I did over a decade ago. And this time, instead of blogging as I did before, I'll actually be documenting that process here on YouTube, sharing it with you all. So hopefully inspiring a few people along the way and maybe building a bit of community around everything. Now, those of you who have been following me at all online or know me in real life for any period of time will know that back in 2012, I think I weighed about 146 kilograms, and I'd got to the point in my life that I had decided that it was time to make a change. Now, I decided that the thing to do, the most sensible thing to do, was to try and become fit and healthy enough to train for and complete a marathon. Well, I basically did that. It took about 18 months. I learned a lot of lessons along the way. I learned a lot about myself. I lost a lot of weight. I was probably the fittest that I had been in many, many years. Probably at that stage, I think I was about 42. So it's probably the fittest I'd been in maybe 17, 18 years. And that sort of just kind of snowballed. I went from completing a marathon to doing multiple marathons. I did the London Marathon. I took up ultra running, and that sort of culminated in this huge sort of 5,500 kilometer trek from Perth to Brisbane. And then once I got back, I continued with ultras and eventually took up the challenge of triathlon. It was all going incredibly well. And then for some reason, I guess everything just sort of started to, it was hard to explain. It was sort of like I was hitting a wall in training. I would keep getting ill. I would not injured, but I would get to the point where I was worn out. Anyway, so cut a long story short, um, I think it was going back about 3 years now. I mean, after COVID came along, actually in 2020, and took a lot of the momentum out of the triathlon stuff because we had events being cancelled left, right, and centre. But even at that point, when I was, when I was training, I was sort of hitting. It was like I was hitting some kind of limit, some kind of built-in. There was a point in the training where my body just started to react and push back. And as I cut a long story short, a few years back, I actually ended up being diagnosed as having severe sleep apnea. And anyway, so had all the tests. Um, Ended up being told that I needed to get a CPAP machine, and so I was given a trial, and the effect was amazing. And that very first night, I had sort of slept for like 7 or 8 hours, uninterrupted, and woke up feeling, like I hadn't felt in years. And so obviously thought that this is the fix. This is what was wrong. Um, but then for some reason, it still didn't quite. I mean, maybe I lost a bit of momentum along the way. Maybe I lost a bit of motivation. Certainly, at that stage, I mean, at that stage, I'm embarrassed to say I was weighing. I think a maximum I hit was about 180 kilos. I probably hadn't hit that at that point, but my weight was still going up. Now, bearing in mind that when I decided that I needed to change thing 12 years ago, I was actually 40 kilos lighter than that, or 35, I don't know. But anyway, I just couldn't get moving. I just couldn't get things back on track, and I couldn't understand what was going on. Anyway, so I think at the end of 2022, towards the end of, in fact, probably the middle of 22, towards the end, I was really struggling with just walking 200 meters was, I parked my car in the city and walked to work. It was a physical challenge, and I just started to feel like I was getting really old, and I couldn't work out. I just wrote it off as being, I'd let myself go. The fitness was gone. That I'd just reverted back to where I was, and then some, and just sort of didn't know, and kind of gave up, I guess. I but kept promising myself that to get back into it, try and find a way back into it. Anyway, so I took a trip to the UK with my son, and during the whole of that trip, it was just getting progressively worse. Even we did a lot of walking, and things seemed to be heading in the right direction in some ways, but the whole energy thing and a number of other symptoms started making me consider the possibility of diabetes. I got back from the UK, had picked up a bad dose of flu. It wasn't COVID. I actually got flu, and was I was basically ill. I ended up taking about 3 weeks off work, unable to really do much except for get out of bed occasionally and hydrate. And then I was struggling to recover from that, and eventually had to go to the doctors just to try and work out what was going on. And so the doctor signed me off for a week, another week, and then I still wasn't feeling any better, still wasn't recovering. It was like impossible to shift this. Like the loss of energy, like the flu had gone, but the loss of energy was still there. And anyway, so he said, "Look, we've got to do a blood test." And so, yeah, sure enough, so like February the 14th, 2023, I got the diagnosis that I actually had quite severe diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and was immediately put on some medication. But I was put on insulin jabs and some tablets. And very rapidly then over the next sort of the weeks and months, my energy levels were amazing. I sort of went from feeling like I was this really old, like 80, 90-year-old guy, to feeling like I had the energy to run a marathon again. So that was absolutely fantastic. But unfortunately, the net sort of outcome of all of this is that all that fitness was lost, all the habits were completely destroyed, all the routines, and a lot of the confidence, to be honest. I haven't ridden my bike for a long time. I haven't done any running. I haven't run properly for probably a couple of years. I haven't cycled for maybe a year and a half, and I can't remember. I think it was about the same sort of time for a swim. And it's the weight. The weight has come back down from that high of 180. The weight sort of came back down. I actually dropped down to about 130 while I had the flu. Not a recommended diet plan, but that the doctor was actually quite pleased. It healthily crept back up, but I'm currently sat on about 156, which is about 10 kilos heavier than I was in 2012. My overall health, I think, is actually a lot better than it was back then because I don't smoke, and that was a big thing back then. I do generally eat relatively healthily. It's probably needs some attention. And underneath it all, I have the knowledge that I know how to do it this time. That I know what needs to be done, and I know that as long as I can do things in the right way, that I have the ability to, if I wanted to, I have the ability to actually walk across Australia. So I don't lack the underlying confidence, I guess. I kind of know what I'm doing here, but I really do need I need to start, and I need to maintain consistency. And so that's really why I'm doing this. It's the blogging worked a treat the first time around. It really did help me to have some accountability. It made me feel like I was putting it out there in front of the world, even though in reality there were just a couple of people reading the blog. I do have a little bit more of an audience because of the things that I've done. So I'm hoping that by putting this out there, I build in some accountability for myself. But also, one of my stated aims ever since completing that first marathon has been essentially to spread the word and encourage people to make changes in their own lives. And one of the things that I've been working on lately is the idea of a website and a community for people who essentially might be thinking about running or at the beginning of their running journey, possibly overweight, possibly in a similar situation to me, and maybe lacking in the belief and fearing that they may be mocked or whatever fears that might be stopping them. That there would be a resource that would support and encourage them. So if that describes you, then I invite you to join this journey. Just follow along and make comments and interact on the Facebook forum or on the YouTube channel, and we'll make this a bit of a group effort. And anyway, so that's probably about time for me to wrap up for the time being. I'm very excited to be doing this again. It's going to be fun doing this in the sort of YouTube as a YouTube channel. I'd sort of started the channel after I'd lost all the weight and got fit and started running the first time. I sort of started sharing some of the things that I'd learned, but it's going to be kind of nice in a way to loop all the way back and be able to share a similar story again. So here's to getting fit, healthy, enjoying my running, and hopefully encouraging some of you to make a start and enjoy your running. So I'll probably be, if it's weekly or bi-weekly or once a month, let's see. But there'll be regular updates, and just let me know in the comments and let me know on the Facebook page and in the Facebook group. Are you going to join in? I mean, if you want to join in this journey, if you want to get started running, I can't run at the moment. I mean, I'll be walking, shedding the kilos and learning how to be a runner again. So join me. Let me know. And I hope to read those comments online. So catch you next time. See ya.